Hey, welcome to Coffee Time episode 175. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we've made it this far. So 2 things before we get started today. First, if you haven't done so yet, you need to subscribe, like, and share this content with others. About half of you that watch these videos haven't subscribed yet. Really? So it's time to make that right. I'd like to think that that doesn't really bother me that you haven't subscribed yet, but I've lost a lot of sleep over this. So subscribe, like, and share this channel with others because I'm pretty sure it'll make your weekend a whole lot better if you do, knowing that you have done the right thing. Second thing, for those of you that start your morning off the right way by watching these videos every single day, thank you for doing that. But I hope it doesn't destroy your first week of June, but there are not going to be any videos next week. I'm going away for a little post-COVID vacay with my wife in one of our favorite places up in Santa Barbara. But don't worry.
I'll be back.
So get your coffee. Going back 5 or 6 years now, I've taught a class at a nearby Bible college on pastoral ministry and church planting. And in the opening class, I share these statistics. 75% of pastors have reported a significant crisis due to stress at least once in their ministry. 50% feel unable to meet the needs of the job. 90% feel that they have not been adequately trained to cope with the ministry demands placed on them. 40% have had a serious conflict with another member of the church at least once a month. 50% are so discouraged that they would leave the ministry if they could, but have no other way of making a living. 85% said that the greatest problem is that they are sick and tired of dealing with problem people such as elders and deacons and worship leaders and worship teams and board members and associate pastors. 90% said the hardest thing about ministry is dealing with uncooperative people. And again, 90% said that the ministry was completely different than they thought it would be before they entered the ministry. If you're not in vocational ministry, those stats may sound insane to you. But if you are in vocational ministry, then you might find yourself nodding in agreement right about now. There are things that you just don't expect when you step into the work of ministering to and serving people on behalf of God and His church. Challenges which make you think, why am I doing this? I think that one of the most difficult challenges is conflict and division within the church, especially when it comes to the point that it seems irreconcilable. I don't really like that word. I've always hated hearing it used when someone says it about a divorcing couple. There were irreconcilable differences. I don't know about you, but when I hear that, I sometimes feel, well, they just didn't try hard enough. But unfortunately, that's not always true. And sometimes in the ministry, you encounter irreconcilable differences. One of the most bothersome stories in the book of Acts is the story of the conflict and separation between Paul and Barnabas. It's recorded in Acts chapter 15. Paul and Barnabas had a disagreement about how their ministry team ought to be composed and who should be a part of the team. And the scriptures aren't very verbose about this whole situation. It just says that the contention between Paul and Barnabas became so sharp that they parted from one another. You have to know that there's a whole lot more that's been left unsaid about what took place between them. Barnabas went one way and Paul went another, and that's it. There's never anything else said in the Bible about what took place and if the issue was ever resolved. There are those that see a hint towards some small resolution later in Paul's life in his very last letter, but it certainly isn't clear that there was a resolution. Irreconcilable differences. I don't think that I ever expected that I would see those in ministry. The Paul and Barnabas story seemed pretty foreign to me 20 years ago when I started, but unfortunately, I've experienced the Paul and Barnabas scenario several times over the last 2 decades. It is an annoying, frustrating, and angering reminder that we are still human. We are all still sinners. We need grace from others and we need grace with others. But there are, unfortunately, times where the contention becomes so sharp that parting seems like the only logical result. And sadly, this side of eternity, resolutions in some circumstances are not always so clear. Something to think about. We'll see you next time.